Look, you guys can go on coffee dates if you want. I am not trying to knock like another woman's decision.
So, hot take. Coffee dates, ice cream dates, drink dates, etc.
When a guy's suggesting to take you out on a coffee date instead of a dinner date or an activity date for your first date, it probably means one of these three things.
Look, you guys can go on coffee dates if you want. I am not trying to knock like another woman's decisions, but knowing what I know about men, like I won't do that because they literally put us in categories right from the very beginning, right? And I cannot fall into the category, oh, she seems cute. Let's see where this goes. Low effort date. She can like prove that she's worth going to dinner with or like spending more time with. If you don't see my inherent value from the beginning, you don't pursue me in the way that you would be pursuing your dream girl, I get the ick. The fact that there's another woman out there that you would pull out all the stops for or put in the effort for, because I guarantee you there is. Guarantee you there's always somebody that they would do it for. And I'm not that person. That means you are not my person. Absolutely not.
Your worth can't be measured by a date. If it could, then how do you see the men who took you to fancy restaurants and you never saw again? Simps. Because the goal wasn't the man, it was the place. You wanted the expensive dish, the fancy glass, and the Instagram photo. And in that photo, everything shows up except the guy who paid. The man turns into a sponsor. All they want is for him to spend, for the food to look luxurious, for it to seem like a millionaire's lifestyle, even if the guy who was there with her doesn't even make it into the memory. Because the intention was never to get to know him, it was to show off. So that whole dream girl talk makes no sense when the real interest isn't in who you are, but in how much you can spend.
So, hot take. Coffee dates, ice cream dates, drink dates, etc. are low effort. Okay. I had this man ask me on a date tonight, and he said, oh, let's go for drinks. I would love to take you out. And I told him respectfully, no, I only do dinner dates. He was like, oh, I don't do dinner dates on the first date. Blocked. I'm not about to play with y'all, okay? These men, we need to, as women, we need to stop letting these men get away with low effort dates and literally doing the thing, okay? Because first of all, why are you trying to get me impaired on the first date? Or why are you trying to get impaired around me on the first date? I'm uncomfortable. Absolutely not. Dinner is great. You can have drinks at dinner. That's 100% a non-negotiable for me. As soon as you're saying that you're not taking me to dinner, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not trying to convince you. Is that you're blocked. Goodbye. The only time I would slightly understand drinks, like a coffee date, salad date, ice cream date, etc., is if he's like a millionaire, billionaire, okay, trillionaire. Like, unless you're up there. But the men that are doing this are regular men anyways. You get what I'm saying? It's regular men who don't want to spend the money on you, right? They want to feel like you have to convince them on that first date why they should take you out to a dinner, spend $200. Maybe if I take myself out to $200 dates by myself and I treat myself all the time, why would you think you're going to commit and take me to no rangy ass, like cheap ass type of drink date? No. And I get it. I feel like as women, a lot of us think of short commitment dates such as drinks, coffee, etc., as, a way for you to leave if things are uncomfortable or, like a quick exit, right? However, that's not how men view things. They're not coming from a safety standpoint. They're trying to get you turned, and also looking at it financially. Like, I'm not going to spend all that money on this girl. Thinking that dinner is that much of an investment is problematic and toxic. I don't deal with it, and I'm not going to argue about it. Blocked. These men are so complacent doing the bare minimum, and if you allow a man to do the bare minimum once, baby, he going to keep doing it. That's what I've learned. That low effort shit is not flying with me at all. But I want to know what y'all think.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
We get it. You're a gold digger. If a man can't take you on a $200 date that you say you pay for all the time yourself, then what do you even need him for? This is the type who goes out with 5 girlfriends to an expensive restaurant, all dressed up, but with water in their glasses because not one of them is willing to split a bottle of wine. The first date is to get to know each other. Inviting a woman to drink alcohol on the first date isn't right. She's got a point there, but a coffee is casual. If you don't like it, you leave. There's no need to sit for hours with a woman who won't even split the bill and leaves you with a $200 tab. All for her to go home, text the guy she actually likes, and leave you with an empty wallet and a "we can be friends."
Women.
When a guy is suggesting to take you out on a coffee date instead of a dinner date or an activity date for your first date, it probably means one of these three things. Number one, he is choosing a low effort, low value date because he is probably dating multiple women. And you might be okay with that because you might be dating multiple men, but it's just something to think about because he is not putting in the effort and money into planning a notable, worthy first date because he's probably going on the same date with so many women just to figure out who is going to be a good match. And essentially there's nothing wrong with that, but it's up to you if you're okay with that. Number two, he's probably kind of cheap. Even if it is about point number one, if a guy has money and he's not cheap, a dinner to him is like a cup of coffee to an average Joe. Even if he's dating multiple women, he'll still want to take you out for a nice dinner. Number three, it's just a meet and greet before he plans a proper date.
Starting from her refusal to go on coffee dates, let's just think about one thing. If she only agrees to go out for dinner because that shows effort, how many men have already wasted their money on her? If she turned down the guy who suggested coffee, what happened to the ones who actually paid for dinner? Because the result was the same. None of them got anywhere with her. They were all rejected just the same. The only difference was the money those men lost. The first date is meant to get to know each other, to see if there's a connection, chemistry, if it's worth moving forward. The second one, that's when you really try to win her over, but only if the first showed clear signs of interest. Going straight into spending $200 so she can take pictures, post stories where you're not even in the frame, and then block you because she didn't feel a spark, leaves you feeling like a fool with an empty wallet.
So, hot take. Coffee dates, ice cream dates, drink dates, etc. are low effort. Okay? I had this man ask me on a date tonight.
So I watched this video all the way through, right, before I even said anything. And she is gorgeous, by the way. Very beautiful woman. My take on this is very different from hers. I met my husband 15 years ago, and our first date was at Cold Stone, the ice cream shop. Before I dated my husband, most men that I was dating, I was getting top-notch treatment, the best dinners, the best everything. I'm from Chicago, so you know how beautiful Chicago nightlife is. Like, you go to the best of the best, skylines, everything, right? Getting all of that treatment just to still be treated like shit. The reason my husband chose Cold Stone to take me on, it had nothing to do with him being cheap. It had everything to do with him listening. Because when we was talking over the phone, I told him I love ice cream. Right. So that ice cream date, and after the ice cream, being able to go to the lakefront, because we went to the lakefront in Chicago and sat down and ate ice cream. That was one of the best dates that I had ever had in my life. It was so intimate. It was so peaceful. It was so quiet. And it meant a lot to me because a man actually took the time out of his day to want to get a chance to just sit and talk to me about my likes and dislikes, where I come from, my upbringing, all of that. Right. See, in today's world, the social aspect is done. Everything is online now. Everything is fast paced. Everything is gimme, 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 gimme. Money, 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 money. I want. Top notch, top notch. That's the world we're living in right now. 50, 50, 50, 50. All of this crazy shit. And nobody's actually dating each other with the intentions of actually getting a chance to know each other. Our second date was a date in the park with a picnic. He went out and he got all of everything that I could have ever imagined. Blankets and everything. Took me on a beautiful, quiet picnic date. Like, and that don't mean I don't like top-notch things. Like, that don't mean I don't like extravagant things, because yes, I requires that. My husband definitely, he spoils me in that way too. But I will say this. Now, I watched her video all the way through, and the only thing I will honestly agree with her about is the drinks date.
I completely agree with this woman. I know a guy, now married, who left the dating game without being the most attractive. But he had a strategy. He always started with a nice coffee shop in town, then headed to the nearby amusement park and finished with a walk on the beach. Nothing extravagant, but it was genuine. That guy actually got results with that kind of date because he showed interest without spending a fortune. Genuine interest isn't negotiable. A woman who demands you spend a ton of money just to get to know her isn't interested in you. She's interested in the lifestyle you can provide. When a woman really likes a man, she doesn't care if it's just coffee. Don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about taking her out drinking on the first date. That's not right. But a simple date is perfect for getting to know each other. She even said it herself. The men who spent the most were the ones who treated her the worst. Meanwhile, the guy who was honest, calm, and attentive took her on a date where they genuinely connected. And he's the one who ended up winning her over.
I don't feel like no woman should be taking that chance of going out with no man on a drink date. No, absolutely not. Alcohol, anything. Absolutely not. That's a no-go. Now, that date, definitely turn it down. But an ice cream date, a simple date, a walk in the park, for me, that's where it's at for me. I love getting dressed up. I love playing in makeup. I love getting dolled up. I love good perfume. I love a good time, good music, good food, good energy, good people, extravagant things. But it's a balance because I'm a mother with 2 sons, right? There is no way on God's green earth I will tell my son to go all out, to take a woman that he just met on the first date, take her to the top-notch restaurant. I don't give a damn what nobody say. That makes 0 sense. You better get a chance. You better get a chance to know this woman to see if you even like her. See, that's the part that we missing. We talking about money, money, money. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Do I even like you? I might not even like you. There is no way I'm about to do all of this for a person to impress a motherfucker that I don't know, a stranger? Absolutely not. I will ask my son, after dating her, how do you feel about her? Do you see good qualities in her? Do you want to even be around her? Like, is this long term or is this short term? Like, those are the conversations that people should be having. Not just take me to the fanciest restaurant Chicago has to offer, spend a bag on me. It's like y'all tripping. Y'all, most of you stop it. That's a bit to the extreme. If I had passed up on that date with my husband, the ice cream date, and if I had that way of thinking, I don't know. I don't think I probably would even saw potential in him to even lead to marriage, kids, a home, and all of those other things. All I would say is do what works for you. If you don't like the ice cream dates and the coffee dates and the walk in the park, girl, you're not wrong for that. Do your thing. But for the women that do, that's not a pick-me. That just means that some women are on a different time. That don't mean you lowering your standards. That don't mean you don't like nice things. That just means that maybe you are in a different space in your life right now where you've had that and that shit didn't mean nothing. Because that was my experience. I had it and it didn't mean absolutely nothing. Something as small as taking me to a Cold Stone ice cream shop and just talking to me and getting a chance to know me meant more than overlooking Chicago skyline, eating the best steak, dressed to the T's to the nines, top-notch everything. That's just me. That was my take on it. So, I mean, do what you want with it. All I'm saying is everybody have what they like and what they don't like. There is no such thing as, oh, well, that's beneath me. You're a pick-me, or that's, girl, you have no standards. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. That's absolutely bullshit. And if that's what you want for you, then do you.
If you ask 50% of married women, most of them aren't with the guy who spent a fortune on the first date. But if you ask the ones who were only used for one night, many will tell you it was with the guy who sold them the luxury date fantasy and never called again. A man who's genuinely interested wants to get to know you, not buy you. He looks for a relaxed setting, without pressure, where he can see who you really are. Of course, on the second date he'll make more of an effort, if he saw that you're the kind of woman he's looking for. But if from the start you demand to be taken to a high-end place, expect him to drop $200 just for the privilege of talking to you. Don't expect that man to be there for anything serious. The one who agrees to that without even knowing you just wants to sleep with you. And his strategy is obvious. Sell you the fantasy of being a princess, impress you with money, make you feel special for one night, and then disappear.
I think my sister and my husband might be having an affair. I have no proof, just a gut feeling. and I don't really know what to do with that. Yesterday, we were at a family function. Dinner and drinks, a normal thing for our family. I noticed that my husband was on his phone so much more than usual. And I noticed this because I was jealous, because he was giving his phone so much attention. And every time we looked down at it, every time it buzzed, he smiled at his phone as if he was showing it affection. Like it was that kind of smile. And I was jealous, so I noticed. And then not long after that, I noticed that my sister was also on her phone a lot. I was watching. As one phone would buzz, one of them would pick it up, look at it, smile affectionately, type something back, put it down. The other phone would buzz. They would pick it up, look at it, smile affectionately, type something back, put it down. And it kept going. At no point did their phones buzz at the same time. It was just constant. As soon as one put it down, the other one buzzed. In that moment, I tried to step out of, I guess, this suspicious little bubble that I was in. I tried to think really realistically and think, my husband and my sister are not going to be sleeping together. That is ridiculous. But then I saw something. I saw something that I cannot make sense of. My sister's phone buzzed. She read something. She smiled. And then she looked up. And at that exact time, my husband looked up. Almost as if to check her reaction.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Brothers, a woman's worst enemy is often another woman, and this case proves it. Women are constantly competing, even with their own sisters. I want to see you doing well, but never better than me. And when you add hypergamy into the mix, that instinct to always seek out the man with the highest value, it becomes clear why the sister didn't hesitate. She already knew the man inside and out, knew exactly what he brought to the table because she saw it every day with her sister. And when she realized she couldn't find a man like that out there, she didn't think twice about getting involved with her sister's husband. Then they talk about female solidarity. But that kind of solidarity dies the moment the man in question brings too much to the table.
And I saw them catch eyes. And I recognized it. I recognized that look. It was flirty and it was lusty. It was the look you give each other at the beginning, when things are exciting and new. You know? I didn't say anything. What was I going to say? Cause a big scene over a look? But right then I knew that as soon as he was asleep that night, I was going to check his phone. And I did. As soon as he fell asleep, I took his phone into the bathroom and I locked the door because I did not want to be disturbed. I went straight to his messages. And I did not find a single message between him and my sister. Not a single message. We have recently moved into a new house, my husband and I. And I know that he messaged my sister because she has a husband who is a man with a van and we wanted to borrow that van. I asked my husband to message my sister just to confirm details, timings, etc. The messages were gone. Everything had been deleted. Which kind of already feels like proof to me. But I know it's not enough. In their eyes, I'm going to have nothing. Not a single shred of proof to back up what I'm saying. I'm just working on a gut feeling that isn't going away. And I feel like I'm losing my mind because I'm having to carry on a normal life right now. I don't feel like I can just outright ask them, are you having an affair? Are you sleeping with my sister? Are you sleeping with my husband? I can't do that. I need to have something to back it up. So what can I do? How can I confirm my suspicions whilst being discreet enough that if I'm wrong, I'm not going to get in trouble? You know?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Cut the nonsense. She says she wants to be discreet, yet she makes a TikTok video claiming her husband is supposedly sleeping with her married sister. No proof, just a gut feeling, and she throws it out there for the whole world to see. What goes through the modern woman's mind? Where did basic logic go? You accuse your husband of infidelity publicly, risking that some bitter feminist might ruin this man's life. Social shaming, getting fired, harassment, all over a look and a few deleted messages. A woman who just moved into a house she probably still owes on, and instead of handling things privately, she airs it all out on social media. And then they wonder why their relationships fail. Brothers, dirty laundry gets washed at home, not on TikTok.
Women.
All right. So, I think the first story time that I want to talk about is the boyfriend that I had who was actually somebody's husband, right? I chew gum, but I ain't gonna smack. I promise y'all, right? So basically, I met this man in 2011. And when I first met him in 2011, like, we was cool. Like, we was just cool. Like, we was messing around a little bit, but it wasn't nothing for real, you know? Like, that's it. So I met him because my cousin used to ride motorcycles. They was all in the same bike club. And they had a charity ride. And so we went on a charity ride. And so we didn't have motorcycles. So we rode. I ended up riding with him. And my friend ended up riding with their other friend. So that's how I met him. So, in the midst of that, though, like when we were dealing with each other in 2011, I found out that somebody told me, I can't remember if either at this time, if the girl was pregnant or just had the baby or whatever. So his baby mother, girlfriend, they were living together. He never told me that they lived together. Somebody else told me. And then when I found out, I left him alone. I stopped talking to him. Okay. So then, like, over the years, we would still keep in touch with each other or whatever the case is. So like in 2015 and 16, we started back talking again. And when we started back talking again, it was like the same little patterns, like you go home at a certain time, things like that. But the excuse was always like work. So I'm like, okay. So me and my friend talking, I'm like, okay, so the excuses work, but it's like if you got to go to work or whatever. Now I've been to his house, but never inside. Like I've literally been to his house, kept my, had tires at his house sitting over there, different things like that. So, finally one day I'm taking my son to work downtown. Who pulls up next to me? No, I'm sorry, behind me. This man. When he pulls up behind me, he getting out the driver's side. It's a woman getting out the passenger side. Hold up. Okay, I was done then. So we talked on and off, like after that or whatever, we just talked. Like it was nothing after that point. So finally, like in 2021 or whatever, the end of 2021, he was buying a house. So he, me and him was talking or whatever, and he was going through the process of buying the house, blah, 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 blah. The whole time he talking like he buying this house or whatever. Okay, cool. So then in June of 2022, I was like, all right, I'm not dating nobody. This man say he's single or whatever. I'm going to just give him a chance.
Stop it. Get some help.
Brothers, she sees that he has a pregnant woman at home and still gets involved with him. That's where the concept of pre-selection comes in. Women are more attracted to a man who has already been approved by another woman. She tells the story as if she's a victim, but the truth is she was enjoying the thrill of sleeping with another woman's man. But let's keep going.
So one night he picked me up from the club that night. I mean, pull up to the front of the club on his bike, publicly pick me up, like ain't hiding, no nothing. So I'm like, well, shit, I don't know no man who got a woman doing all this. Okay. So from that point, like we just been together, like we hanging out, taking trips, we going out of town, we dressed alike, all this stuff or whatever. So then comes maybe like 2 or 3 months later. I'm on the phone. My friend called me and she was like, hey, this girl I know saw old boy pick you up from the club and she was asking me questions about you. Well, what's she asking questions about me for? Oh, because apparently his baby mom worked at the same place that she worked for, like the facility or whatever. And so she knew who the baby mom was. So the girl told my friend, like, yeah, they just bought a house, blah, 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 blah. Well, hold up. They just did what? So at this time, he was on a trip in Orlando, claimed that it was him, his son, and his guy friends who went to Orlando for a little summer trip or whatever the case is. And so I started calling him. I'm like, nigga, like, Negro, you bought a house like this? So now, mind you, this man has walked around this house asking me how to decorate this. He was like, I'm a dude. I don't know how to do this shit. And the house definitely did not look like a woman lived there. Like, it needed to be decorated. But maybe it was because they were just moving in. I don't know. But anyway, so he was like walking around the house asking me for help to decorate. So, of course, he on the phone yelling and screaming when I found out about it. You know, typical narcissist shit. Just yelling and screaming, performing, acting a fool and all that shit. So when he got back here, he came straight to here. Came to my house. We talking. You know, yeah, I did, but it's not like that. Da 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 da. So dumbass me. Again, dumbass me. I don't need nobody to tell me. Dumbass me. I'm like, okay. But I base it off to the way this man was moving. Like I said, this man used to be out and about, not hiding, no nothing. So when he was like, they just co-parenting and that's just what it is. That's what I was like, okay, because the way he moved, he don't give a damn. So that was that.
The classic Chad, a man who brings nothing to the table except his seed, and even knowing that, she didn't leave him. I want you to pay attention to how a woman acts when she really likes a man. When a woman is into a man, she'll want him even if he has a wife. She knows he has a woman. She saw her getting out of his car. Her friend even warned her. She forgave him. This guy has her riding the carousel, and she's hooked on the dopamine he gives her. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't right. I'm just showing you that when a woman doesn't treat you like the best man she could have, when she doesn't go out of her way to do things for you, it's because she's not really into you. Because when she truly likes a man, she'll accept him, even if he's with someone else. But let's keep going.
So of course I argued, talk shit, did all kind of stuff or whatever, but I still was talking to him. Then comes December. I think it was like December the 6th, if I can remember. I'm on my way to the dentist. Y'all, my cousin called me. My cousin said, yeah, I saw the baby mom today. And I was like, oh, okay, well, okay. She said, yeah, and she still they together because she's still wearing her ring. Ring? I almost wrecked my fucking car, y'all. I was getting off the exit making a right to go to the dentist. Like, I remember this shit like it just happened yesterday. I'm getting ready to make a right turn. When that girl said she still wear her ring, like, my whole heart just dropped, like, oh, what? So I'm calling him. Motherfucker, you married? Huh? Uh, like, stuttering and shit. Can I please come talk to you? I just gotta tell you something. What the fuck do you have to tell me? Like, nigga, you married? Like, so not only did I find out about your fucking baby mama, then I found out that y'all live together. Now I found out you fucking married? What? Okay. So of course now at this point I'm devastated, y'all. So I'm like, I finally give this man a chance, and then this is how this is what we doing? So I go on the county website or whatever, I start digging. They got married 2/22/22. Oh, okay. So when I said something, no, it wasn't like that. You know, I was at a low place in my life and she just said, let's just get married. And that's just what we did. She picked out her own ring. This is all the story now. She picked out her own ring. I was like, so where's your wedding ring at? I never worn it since the first day. You know, I knew I shouldn't have done it. All this. And again, y'all, like, I'm thinking back. So when 2/22 had came, you was at my house. Valentine's Day, we was out of town in Atlanta. Like, all these things and all these trips. Thanksgiving, you with me and my family. Mother's Day, you with us after you go to your mom and then you come to us. Like, all these things, like, you with us. We going to big old events down here like Juneteenth, dress alike. All these things. And this man really got me out here like, I'm his girlfriend and he just single. So then I started like putting pressure on him, like, okay, what the fuck are you doing? Like, because at this point, now, not saying it's right, and it'd have been easy for me to just be like, fuck it, I walk away. But when you love somebody, it's like, you want to believe what they're telling you. I mean, that's just what we do as women. So he's telling me, like, she know I'm with somebody. Then he claimed that she saw a picture. I don't know who posted the picture or whatever. He claimed she saw the picture. So he came over here and he was like, you saw the picture of us together. She saw a picture, and I was like, well, what picture, and how could she see a picture? Because I never posted him.
Fuck up, you crazy bitch whore!
I'm always amazed at how guys like this Chad somehow have the time to juggle two women. I mean, if he was going to all these events, when did he even go home? Either he doesn't work, or he's living a double life full time. But the key moment here is when she says, when you love someone, you want to believe them. And it's because of things like this that I always say, women ignore all the red flags. Then they complain that all men are bad, when she knew he had a child and a woman at home. Of course he's guilty, but she's the one who chose to accept those terms instead of looking for a single man. And the ending? She still doesn't leave him. She finds out he has 6 kids. Only after he messes with her again does she finally walk away. But what do you guys think about all this?
Did you know you weren't supposed to marry him? So I'm going to be really vulnerable and honest about this, and I've only admitted this to fewer than a handful of people. I knew that I shouldn't marry my ex-husband. Let me explain this to you, and I did it anyway. Let me explain this to you, and that's why I'm proposing this question to you, okay? So we had been together for a really long time. I was madly in love with him. He was my college sweetheart. And as we were getting closer to the wedding day and like some things had transpired with his family and he really struggled to put boundaries in place, and he's like a total altruistic narcissist. If you don't know what that is, look it up. He's not a narcissist. He has narcissistic tendencies, strong narcissistic tendencies. Anyway, this isn't really about him, okay? This is about me. I had this strong feeling and this voice that said, Andrea, do not marry him. I didn't listen to myself, okay? Now, I'm not taking responsibility for some of the shitty things he did to me, but I'm taking 100% responsibility for not listening to myself. And what I did was I said to myself, Andrea, like my conscious brain, my intuition, my subconscious, my instincts were like, don't marry him. This isn't right. Like, it's just, this isn't the right fit. My conscious self was like, but you guys have been together so long. You're college sweethearts. You've traveled the world together. You're so close. Like, he's going to be a great dad. He's going to be a great provider. He's going to be so loyal. Like, he's so stable. Like, all this stuff. I convinced myself to make it work. But there were a couple of qualities about him that foundationally I knew I was going to have to overcompensate for. And I said that to myself. I said, it's okay. You'll just overcompensate. Like, you will just be the one to protect your family. You will just be the one to have to always assert the boundaries. Hello, somebody. What the hell was I thinking? Well, Andrea back then had lower self-esteem and didn't listen to her inner wisdom. Like, let's just say that. I'm not judging myself and I'm not criticizing myself, but let me tell you what I did. I learned from my mistake. Okay. When he did what he did and he blindsided me and he left me and like left our life in shambles, left me in financial ruin, I said, okay, God, I'm listening. And when I say God, I don't mean God made that happen, but more like I was like, you got my attention, like shit's going down. So I decided to start doing things differently from there on out.
Remember that on the wedding day, the man marries for love, while the woman marries for a lifestyle. That whole something told me not to marry him story, I really doubt it. Because if she's madly in love, she's not stopping to think about that. Just ask the men who got married head over heels in love and ended up losing everything in a divorce because of that one emotional decision. Secondly, nowadays every woman calls a man a narcissist or an abuser just for protecting his assets or simply putting himself first. Having self-esteem, not tolerating disrespect, or breaking up with a woman who's not right for you, like this man did, is now labeled as narcissism. The narrative always shifts when a man refuses to be manipulated, because if you don't bow down, you're the villain.
Cheat on him.
Why?
If he cheats on you, you cheat on him back. There's no long paragraphs, there's no yelling, there's no crying.
How about just leave them?
You know, take the high road instead of...
You'll find his dad, his brother, his best friend. I don't care if you have to lie about it. You are going to cheat back.
So then both people will be wrong. Fantastic.
And you're going to make that a stipulation at the beginning of your relationship. You're going to say, if you cheat on me, I just want you to know that I will be cheating on you back, and anybody is fair game.
If a person's entering a relationship and expecting to be cheated on, they probably shouldn't be entering that relationship in the first place.
If it happens, which happens way too much, you get to follow through. You're not betraying. You're not betraying. You already set the boundary.
The scary thing is, this type of logic actually works for some.
You look them dead in the eye when you say, oh, by the way, I slept with this and this because I found out about yours, and you're walking out the fucking door. You're not going back. Fuck the high road. It feels good to get revenge.
Instead of using your body as a tool for revenge against someone, how about keep your dignity and self-respect intact and just leave the relationship, like an adult?
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
These are the kinds of advice modern women give each other, and that's why today they're more unfaithful than men. Just think about how twisted this sounds. If he cheats on you, go sleep with his brother, his dad, his best friend. Seriously? That's not a woman you can build anything with or take seriously. And if a man chooses to stay with a woman like that, he's disrespecting himself. Because whoever gets involved with a cheater ends up carrying the weight of that same betrayal. Let me be clear, once a cheater, always a cheater. And no man with self-respect sticks around to see if this time will be different.
So Emrata just came out saying that being divorced at 30 is chic, and I could not agree more. I'm turning 31 in 2 weeks, and as someone who got into a relationship at 21 and was separated by age 29, I have so many thoughts about this. Even though I'm not technically divorced, I was engaged in common law and we owned property together, so we had to get lawyers involved, and I went through a very challenging and financially draining year-long legal separation process that was 1,000,000% worth it because of how my life turned out to be so much better than I could have ever imagined it to be. Being in your 20s is like having no idea what you want to do with yourself and your life, but still pushing along this path regardless because you don't know where else to go. You kind of subscribe to this dream and this narrative that we've been fed since basically birth, that climbing the corporate ladder and partnering up and having kids will be fulfilling. And experiencing this is so valuable because over time, with experience, you begin to realize that it's not all that it's cracked up to be. And it's so freeing when you determine that your time and energy can now be invested into anything else, literally anything else. And on top of that, you now have this amazing thing called perspective. Perspective of knowing what you don't want and what doesn't work for you. And then you develop boundaries and confidence. At 30, I have never been more confident, more financially secure, got a better ROI on the investment into my relationships. And yes, of course, there will always be peaks and valleys in life, but even 2 years later, I still look back on my separation as the best decision I ever made that catapulted me into financial freedom and such a higher sense of satisfaction with myself and my life path and just a general sense of self. Also, getting through the challenge of being so confused and lost and scared and losing my home and losing my friends taught me that I'm capable to handle any challenge that will come my way because nothing will ever be as hard as that. So if you're afraid of making a decision that could potentially alter the course of your life, just know that if you bet on yourself, you always win. Ask yourself, what happens if you change your life for the better?
Congratulations, now she's got a cat, and she's on the wall. Let me tell you, a breakup from a common law relationship is 1,000 times better than from a marriage, so at least that man was smart. In a common law setup, only what was built together gets divided. That's why these days it's what I most recommend to men. Protect your assets, protect your future. With the fast-paced life we live today, a long marriage is considered to be at least 6 years. Why? Because 80% of the time, it's the woman who ends it. This woman proves the theory. By 2030, 45% of women over 30 will be single. And the worst part, she didn't even have a child during her best years in a relationship, while her biological clock keeps ticking down. But don't worry, there'll always be a cute little cat to keep her company on the wall, because the wall never forgives.
Men settle because they don't have standards, but it goes much deeper than that.
Oh yeah? How much deeper into the chasm of BS do we need to go? Let's find out.
Why are men more willing to settle into relationships with women that don't meet their standard?
Wait, I thought men didn't have standards. Which one is it?
Why do they lie about who they are? Why do they pretend to be stuff that they're not to get women that they really don't like?
I mean, you could honestly ask the same question of women, but that's not the topic of conversation here, is it?
And the answer is fucking super simple.
So then, let's hear it.
There are more benefits for a man in a relationship with a woman than there will ever be for a woman in a relationship with a man.
Spoken like a person who unfortunately seems to view relationships as strictly transactional, which unfortunately is ever increasing in popularity.
I used to hear all the time, people don't fall in love with you, they fall in love with how you treat them. But for men, they fall in love with the benefits package that they get from having a woman.
No, they don't. But by all means, continue projecting one's own seeming personal experiences into everyone else's relationships.
They will literally lie and pretend to be whoever they need to be to get said woman to start benefiting their life. Single women have glow-ups, single men look like neglected houseplants.
Just an observation, but if those glow-ups were as successful as some want others to think that they were, there wouldn't be so many single women out there trying to keep other women single.
Stop it. Get some help.
Misery loves company. That theory makes no sense at all. Out of every 10 single women, only 3 or 4 can truly say they're successful. Many live paycheck to paycheck or even below the poverty line, very different from the average single man. Do you know how many women today enjoy a decent, luxurious life just because they married the right man? Plenty of them would have never owned a home through their own efforts. That's why you see so many trying to climb the ranks on the Blue app with easy gigs. They know they wouldn't reach those levels with their intelligence alone, so they overexploit their bodies. By the time they're 35, many regret not having a man, stuck in a marriage-less life working a job that drains them. They'd much rather be at home making a sandwich for their husband, who pays for everything and provides stability. It's no wonder they chase high-value men, yet they always claim that they make the man.
Women.
It absolutely amazes me that in today's society, how many men will sit back and watch a woman load shavings and feed onto the bed of her truck and not offer assistance. Like, what happened? What happened? Where did we go wrong? I don't know. Do I need help? No, I don't.
Let's just call it what it is. These women treated men so poorly that these men said, fuck it, do it yourself. Not only that is the amount of men that actively have tried to help women and they turn around and look at them like, ew, I don't need your help. I can do it myself. How many times have men taken women on dates and tried to get the car door and she looks at him like with a nasty attitude and says she can get her own door? Women literally treated men so poorly that they have chosen their peace over trying to help women. This doesn't even include the amount of women that get offended if a man tries to help a woman. She'll turn around and be like, oh, you're only helping me because I'm a woman. So now she's offended. Now it's an awkward situation, even though he's trying to be a gentleman. Again, women have set the standard and now they can't stand it. Not only that, let's not forget the amount of women with inflated egos that think that every man that is talking to them or even trying to help them is somehow attracted to them, sexually attracted to them in any kind of way, and that means that he's hitting on her. Why would a man risk being looked at as a creep or inappropriate when he's just trying to help? And the majority of women that don't trust men to be good people or gentlemanlike is the reason why men said, fuck it. If I'm a good man and I genuinely want to help you and you're going to turn around and be a nasty, disgusting human being, why would I continue to help you? And that's kind of where we are right now. That doesn't even get into the amount of delusional women that turn it into something way, way worse, where they start false allegations or he looked at her or touched her inappropriately. The list goes on. And at the end of the day, women chose equality and you don't get to nitpick and choose when to use equality and when you don't. Either you're going to be full in and you can do everything yourself, or you're going to accept that you still need men and treat them accordingly. Okay, bye.
There's nothing more to add here. My father always told me something that fits perfectly with this. I don't solve problems that aren't mine. And that's exactly it. Brother, you don't go looking to get yelled at, accused of harassment, or looked down on just for trying to help. It's not worth it. Focus on your own path. Let her figure it out on her own. After all, they're strong and independent, right? That's what they wanted, so let them have it. Meanwhile, we stay calm, far from problems that don't belong to us.
I do not get the hype around marriage. I really don't. When I was married, I found it to be really underwhelming and overrated. I never at any point felt like I was doing something special or magical. If anything, I felt like I joined a cult. Because people would get really weird about me going off script in terms of being a wife and just getting married. For example, I didn't take my ex-husband's last name when I got married. And if you didn't know this, if you're a woman and you marry a dude and you don't take his last name, people get real freaking weird about it. They get really worked up about it. People would ask me all the time. They would be like, what would you do if you had kids? And my answer would not bring them comfort, because what I would essentially tell them is I'd be like, if we do have children, they're taking my last name because I birthed them. I'm not going to labor and bring a child into the world just to give it some fucking dude's last name. That is my child. It is not part of my self-concept to credit somebody else for my work. Sorry. And that one would really rile some people up. People really did not like that one. And to me, it seemed like the most logical thing, to be honest with you. I don't understand why we give children their dad's last names. It seems kind of wacky to me. And listen, I don't want any women in my comments justifying why they took their husband's last names or why their kids have their husband's last names. I don't care. Like, I don't have any hatred towards you. I know people just do what they do, but what I'm just talking about is my experience of not doing what everybody else is doing and how people freak out on you like you're in a cult. You know what I mean? So it's just odd. It was a really weird time in my life. And I just kind of felt like I was always getting this subtle pressure from the world around me to give up my personhood once I became a wife. And I really didn't like that. And I couldn't quite articulate it when I was married, but I can see it very clearly now.
Stop it. Get some help.
No offense, but yeah, I also thought she was a lesbian. She's got more masculine energy than a lot of guys these days, and that's not a compliment. It's no surprise she's divorced. When a woman starts off with lines like, I don't get the hype about marriage, and it felt like a cult to me, you already know it's pure individualism coming your way. Brother, if your woman even refuses to take your last name, how do you expect her to respect your leadership or build a life with you? And the best part, she wants the kids to have her last name because she gave birth to them. So basically, the guy was just there to plant the seed, but she gets all the credit. Does that sound fair to you? These are the kinds of women who'll only do something for you if you do something first. They're emotionally stingy and live with a competitive mindset, not a cooperative one. That's why she's divorced and hitting the wall, because we all know the wall shows no mercy.
Why are so many women in their 40s divorced or thinking about divorce? Imagine this. She's been running the household, managing the kids' schedules, excelling at her career, and still picking up her husband's slack. And now she's wondering, what's the point of this partnership if I'm doing it all by myself? Here's what happens. High-achieving women hit a breaking point. They're exhausted. They've tried motivating their husbands. Can you please help me with the kids? Or can you take on more at home? But nothing changes. And resentment? Oh, it grows like wildfire. She starts thinking, I'm already the breadwinner. I'm already handling everything. What am I getting out of this marriage? And that realization is like a tidal wave crashing into everything she thought she wanted. It's not impossible to save the marriage. It's just incredibly difficult when one partner refuses to grow. And the longer she waits, the more she feels like she's losing herself. So if you're feeling this way, ask yourself, are you sacrificing yourself to keep the peace, or are you ready to reclaim your life? Because staying isn't the default answer. Choosing you, that's where the power lies.
These days, the narrative is that a married woman deserves more money, more attention, more success. And if she doesn't have it, it's because her husband is a stone in her path. But no one asks about the guy who busts his ass working, who also helps clean, who even pays for a cleaning lady once a month, and still has to deal with a wife who neither helps around the house nor contributes financially. And on top of that, he's stuck carrying the emotional burden of her not feeling fulfilled. Shouldn't you also choose yourself? Because it seems like only they have the right to leave everything behind to find themselves. And the most ironic part is that a lot of these women who get divorced at 40 thinking they're about to reclaim themselves end up crashing hard into the wall. The narrative sounds beautiful until you face reality. Not all of them will succeed. For every one woman who manages to reinvent herself, there are 10 who end up in debt, single, and living a reality that's very different from the one they were sold. If they were all really that empowered, there wouldn't be so many living below the poverty line. But of course, you won't hear that part in the motivational speeches, right?
Women.
I cannot tell you how many of these comments I've gotten off of this one video. So many women are swearing off being married. They'll say, I'll never get married again. I can't wait till I get divorced. I'll never live with a man again, so on and so forth. And I think it's just very telling. Like, I myself, I've lived with a male partner before, and it was hell. You know, they treat you like a literal slave. I remember joking with my cousin recently, and I was like, hey, girl, you know I can't keep no man. Really what it means is I don't want to keep a man. And then she admits to me, she's like, you know what? I'm a slave. I'm a slave to my husband. I'm a slave to my son. And I was like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense. All of us women who are sharing our horrible experiences with men, being in romantic relationships with men, we're not crazy. We're not imagining this. There's a reason why we're all going through this right now. And we're waking up. Marriage is sold to us every single day. Hey, look, if you're a woman, you need to get married. You need to tie yourself to a man. Your success depends on it. Your worth as a woman is nothing if you're not tied to a man, right? That's what we are told. And this is very clever marketing and a very clever scheme for men to really enjoy the invisible and often uncompensated labor that women provide. I mean, this scheme and this scam has been so good that most of us have forgotten the origins of marriage, right? Marriage originally was a tool for men to own women as property. And it's not a coincidence that a lot of them treat the women that they're with like property, whether they be married, whether they're just boyfriend and girlfriend, whatever, whether they're living together. I mean, think about the whole Keke Palmer thing, right? I mean, it's very telling. One of my favorite scholars, her name is Catherine McKinnon. She's a Marxist feminist and a lawyer. And she wrote about the exploitative labor dynamics between men and women. And she goes on to explain that because of the domestic and invisible labor that women provide in the home, that wives provide in the home, the men's time and energy was freed up so that they go out into the world and conquer the world and take their place in the public sphere. All while what? All while women sacrifice their opportunity to make a name for themselves, to represent themselves in the public sphere, right? So they're held captive in the home, producing this domestic feminized labor so that men can free up their time and free up their energy to go be men out in the world, right? I'm saying this all to say that we are not imagining things, right? Like, they do treat us like servants. They do treat us like slaves. And it's because of the origins of marriage. Marriage has always been a labor contract so that men can enjoy and exploit the invisible, undercompensated, and uncompensated labor of women.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
She's a slave for taking care of her own home, but she's an empowered woman for killing herself working 8 to 12 hours a day at a company that would replace her tomorrow if she got sick. Of course, her guru is some Marxist feminist, the kind who preaches communism but lives a life of luxury under capitalism and wouldn't dare set foot in a socialist country. It's hilarious how she talks about marriage being a scam when we're living in the era with the highest number of single women. Let's not forget, by 2030, 45% of women in the US are expected to be single, and honestly, I think it'll be even higher at the rate things are going. Because yeah, working 12 hours a day, coming home to an empty house, having no one to take care of you when you get sick, aging alone, and getting tossed aside by your company for someone younger. That's the dream life. But having a husband, kids, a home, and building a family, that's slavery. What a joke. What nobody tells them is that not all of them are going to become successful businesswomen or millionaire influencers. Most will end up as statistics, alone, broke, and blaming the system. But hey, keep believing in the radical feminist marketing. The wall is waiting, and the wall doesn't forgive.
5 more hard truths that people are not going to tell you about divorce, but I am. Some of your friends that are in relationships right now, especially new relationships, are going to feel kind of threatened by the fact you're single. It's weird. You're going to have late nights where you feel like, oh my gosh, I've totally made a mistake. I should get back together with my ex. Fight through those feelings and realize you are where you're supposed to be. People are going to ask you all sorts of weird, awkward questions like, whose fault was it? Oh, did you pick your career over your marriage? You don't have to answer those. In fact, don't answer those. The most random things are going to remind you of your ex, but don't try to go relive them. Just know it's normal. The first person you meet is probably not going to be the next love of your life. Probably not going to be. Just remember that. You're going to find that you're angry, you're upset, you're sad, you're missing that person. And then one day you're going to wake up and you're going to realize that you're not. And that's going to be the beginning of your next amazing chapter.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
You know why women lead the statistics when it comes to antidepressant use and therapy visits? Because you can escape everything, except your own mind and your own decisions. And listen closely. When she's asked if she chose her career over her marriage, she doesn't answer. Why? Because that's exactly what she did. Career first, relationship second, or never. But of course, later they don't understand why the house feels empty, why success tastes bitter. There's a saying that goes, what good is a big house if you only occupy one room? The idea that the next person will be the love of your life is just another illusion. The success rate between first and third marriages drops dramatically, around 60% for first marriages, 33 to 40% for second marriages, and barely 26 to 27% for third marriages. The more you chase that dream partner, the more you fail. But hey, today everything is worth it if you can end up calling yourself an empowered, strong, and independent woman.
Let's talk about divorce. If you're going through a divorce or contemplating getting a divorce, I don't want to be the bearer of good news, but it's always better afterward. Don't get me wrong. The process of divorce can be really stressful. For some, very painful. For others, it could be glorious. But the point is, what a lot of women don't understand is that there is actually life after divorce, and usually it's 99.9% better. Once you actually overcome the fear, the sadness, the anger, the hate, or whatever it is that you may be feeling, it's actually one of the most satisfying, amazing, glorifying feelings ever. To be independent, to feel like you're yourself again. Now, everybody's divorce and situation is different, but a lot of people always ask me, it's so hard, I'm so scared, I'm so worried, I'm worried about being alone. Don't be worried about being alone. That is the most beautiful part. Being alone sometimes is the best thing for you. And I'm not only talking about relationships, just friendships as well. Being alone and not having a million friends around you sometimes is the most comforting feeling and is the best feeling for you. I enjoy not having a million friends around me. I enjoy sitting at home. I enjoy being around my children and family and people who actually matter to me that I value. And sometimes all that happens from regrowth and re-understanding of yourself and who you are. A lot of times we lose ourselves in friendships and relationships, and regaining that part of yourself back is the hardest part, but it's so satisfying when you jump over that hurdle. It's not the end of the world. You're not gonna crumble. You're not gonna be down and out. Once the process is over, give yourself a solid year from start to finish. I promise you, you are gonna be the happiest you have ever been. I promise. And a lot of people ask me, but I have kids. It's so much harder when you have kids. I have kids too. Having kids should not be the reason you stick around, because ultimately, if you stick around because of your kids and you become unhappy and you're miserable, you're going to take that out on your kids. It's better they have one individual happy parent than two miserable parents.
I've always said, divorce hurts, but it depends on which side you're on. If you're the one asking for it, you've already processed the decision. If it's dropped on you, it hits like a bucket of cold water. And since about 80% of divorces are initiated by women, guess who usually ends up shattered at first? But here's the difference. After taking the hit, a man gets back up. He's more resilient. He needs less to be okay. He adapts. And if he manages to stay connected to his kids, he realizes something crucial. Living without a woman who no longer loves you isn't that bad. In fact, it can be the start of your best chapter. A study from Duke University Press looking at a 5-year span found that women's median household income drops by about 41% after divorce, compared to 23% for men. That gap persists throughout the next decade, fueling higher poverty rates among women. Yet within 5 years, about 64% of men remarry, compared to only 52% of women. And when a man marries a working woman, his income almost triples, especially if he had kids from his first marriage. Being a man is still a blessing. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, here are some questions for you. What's your opinion about women who get divorced? Do you know any divorced men? How did things turn out for them? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to create more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the wall.